I have got Anthony Bedanza here with me today. I'm going to be giving him a brief little lesson. He's been, trying to get to the Pro Tour, and sounds like that's still the goal in a couple of years. So see if we can give him a couple tips and stuff and get going. Sound good?
Yeah. You sure you want to shoot this video before we play a challenge together? You're gonna teach me all your
yeah,
tricks?
that's true. That's true. I'll hold some stuff out, and then I'll record some stuff.
Okay.
So you'll have to watch the video, and then
Hey, I'm down.
And then you'll get some even more.
I respect it. Okay, perfect.
Basically what we'll do is I'll just kind of start out by watching you throw a few.
Cool.
But I kind of want to get an idea. Do you have like any common misses, or feel like there's anything that you like struggle with really hard in your game right now?
Yeah, I think so. My mind always goes towards the cause, but I think I get forward, and then it makes throwing committed anhyzers hard, because if I'm here already, it's easier to throw a hyzer, but it's hard to throw.
You mean like hip over your front foot a little bit too much?
Versus staying back here and throwing anhyzers. And so I'll either miss early, or just like, if sometimes when I try to throw anhyzer and I'm tired, I throw a hyzer.
Okay, yeah.
Those would be the biggest things.
Does that come out, like, do you feel like that's something you struggle with in all of your shots, or and it comes out on anhyzer, or like when you're trying to throw an anhyzer, or is it like something that like only when you try to throw anhyzer you get over that?
I think it just probably isn't as prominent when I'm not trying to throw an anhyzer.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Yeah. Sounds
especially good. It's actually good. I've played 50 something holes today, so this is my tired missiles will be here. So if we can, I almost like sometimes working a little more tired, because then all the problems exacerbate themselves. Like speed and tiredness kind of expose, and so we'll be able to get some good work done, hopefully.
For sure. Sounds good. Real quick, guys, this video is brought to you by Formero. You can find me or any of our other pro and certified coaches over on the app to get a form review that we call a Formero, or a virtual live call lesson. There's plenty of options, and we'd love to see you over on the app. All of the links are in the description. Let's get right back to the video.
Oh.
Couple warm-ups to start.
Yeah, honestly, that's okay.
You don't have to go fast with these. Quality throws. Okay. One thing that I'm seeing right away is just, I feel like you're a little quick. Like, especially at your like peak, getting to your peak reach back, you're just like a little snappy. So I want you to try just being a little bit more controlled.
Okay.
Like just a little bit more deliberate with all the things you're doing, and just not necessarily slowing down, but making sure that you're like hitting all of your spots.
Okay.
Specifically. Make sense? Better. Because that looks way more in control, and it's no less distance or anything. Nice. That looks great.
Sick.
How's that feel?
It feels good. It feels slow.
Yeah.
But I've tried to get away from trying to make changes feel good. You know?
Yeah.
Changes shouldn't feel good because it's so different.
Yeah,
Your body's
exactly.
not used to it.
Exactly. Nice. Yeah, I mean, I think in general, most people are too quick. And not necessarily like in like their whole like approach, because obviously everyone has their own like run up speed.
Yeah.
And like you're gonna be faster than me, like run up speed wise. But I think for everyone, they have their own tempo. But in that tempo, you need to be like as controlled as possible, and like as deliberate.
Yeah.
Because if like you're just going, I mean, it could be a fraction of a second faster than what your natural swing is, and that's going to make you miss a little bit here and there. And I think it's easier to get quick, especially when you're, in a tournament or like pressure's on. It's easier to get a little bit quick than it is to like get a little bit slow. So I think just thinking about being a little bit slow is helpful.
Cool.
One thing I want you to try, because you mentioned when you feel like you get over that front foot a little bit, and you get, especially when you're throwing on Annie, I want you to throw a couple anhyzers for me.
Okay.
But, like, have you ever been ice skating?
Yeah.
Or like rollerblading?
Yeah.
And so like when you're ice skating or rollerblading, you're like pushing off with like the inside of your foot.
Yeah.
Like each way.
Yeah.
I want you to feel like almost the reverse of that when you're getting into your plant, and feel like you're planting with that like inside.
Trying to catch it on that same area?
Not necessarily catch it, but I want you to feel like you're planting with like the inside of your foot. So as opposed to like planting flat, feel like you're planting with the inside of your foot, because you'll notice it's pretty impossible to be like over that front foot if you're on the inside of it. You're
Okay.
almost guaranteed to be out
Yeah.
in front of that hip.
Cool.
And so just try the same thing, same normal throw, good tempo. Try a little baby Annie, but try to get to that inside part of the foot. Nice. Money. How's that feel?
It feels like even slower just because I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. Nice. And those are all Annie.
Yeah. I feel more behind it, which
Yeah.
is good.
Because you said your miss when you do an anhyzer, sometimes it comes out on hyzer instead.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just trying to rip on it, and then I get like way over here, and then I try to throw Annie, but the body just kind of like does weird things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, balance
Which probably
takes
is
you a
a
little bit.
fast, like if you're too fast too, I'm more getting over it as well.
Yeah, balance.
Yeah.
Balance is a huge piece of it. Nice. And those are all money anhyzer angle.
Yeah, it feels controlled.
Because they're not like yanked over or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like that smooth, slight Annie.
That one was closer to how I feel my misses.
A little bit?
Yeah. I wonder if, so the thought that I had there was trying to throw even more anhyzer,
Yeah.
and maybe that thought got me like, sometimes I feel like I get big when I throw it.
Okay.
Like I try to get really wide and really big and really up.
Yeah.
Instead of just controlling a rotation that's this way.
For sure. What's your feel to control angle? Like, do you feel like a tilt at the hips? Are you feeling like your arm is changing the angle, like shoulders?
My feel is more arm
okay.
than hips. I have a bad proprioception around like my hips area right now.
Yeah.
And so that's something, I think it'd be better to feel it more in the hips. But
Okay.
right now it's probably more arm is how I'm feeling it.
Okay. I want you to try, so instead of feeling arm,
Yeah.
I want you to like set at the beginning of your swing, like just like a taller chest.
Okay.
To start with. Same balance point and everything, but just a little bit taller chest.
Okay.
And like hold it the whole way. Because one thing that I'm seeing too is like you're starting your run up on the same angle that you would throw your hyzer. So you're
Okay.
like on hyzer, and then as you're planting, you're like trying to readjust to
Okay.
anhyzer.
Yeah.
So just like at the start of your throw, as opposed to starting where you normally are, just start higher up
Okay.
and be here and hold that line the whole time
Okay.
for the anhyzer instead of like being on hyzer and then adjusting.
Yeah.
it.
So if you're not here, just
Yeah.
start higher.
Yep. Nice. And then you can keep more of that natural arm plane too. Because I think people sometimes are doing too much arm adjustment.
Yeah.
And like you naturally want to pull through the same every single time. And then if you just do that little bit of tilt and starting with it as opposed to doing it right at the end,
Yeah.
just makes it a little bit more consistent. Nice. And then you'll find like you can almost keep the feel like, because you know when you're throwing on hyzer, you like naturally like falling through up and you just have that like that good feeling. Because I'm a hyzer thrower too.
Yeah.
Like you have that arm plane that feels good. You can then take that little bit different body position the whole way, but then still have that hyzer feeling with your arm. Does that
Interesting.
make sense? And then
think
that's
so.
going to give you that like really slight anhyzer flex. That thing's flippy.
Yeah, it's just very straight disc.
Good angle though.
I'm running out of stable discs.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is the last one that's close to stable.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, because that did, I think you're right. That felt more like a flat to like hyzer follow through just because I started differently.
Yeah, and that's how you can like adjust those slight angles. 'Cause, you know, and especially I feel like on the Pro Tour, like you see like Gannon and Isaac, and that like slight Annie is like such an in throw right now.
Yeah.
Like everyone's trying to throw
I
that.
think it's, especially everyone has stable discs, so getting something to just land flat on that angle.
Yeah,
almost
exactly. And I've always found it really tricky to throw that slight anhyzer. Like
Yeah.
I've been great at throwing like a knife Annie with something super stable and panning it out. And so
Yeah.
something that's been super important for me is like trying to keep my natural hyzer swing, but then finding a way to put my body in the right position so I can keep that natural throw, because it's always felt so unnatural to throw anhyzer. And so just something to keep that natural throw but obviously
I
get
found like
that
the angle sensitivity I have on hyzer is like every 5 degrees, and the angle sensitivity on anhyzer is every like 15 degrees.
Yes.
You know, it's like I know I'll get it between here and here.
Yeah.
But on hyzer, it's like I can get it between here and here. And it's just like so different.
For sure.
So that makes sense, because that felt like almost, oh no, I accidentally threw a hyzer, but it came out on the angle I wanted.
Yeah, and it's that body position, and it's not even like you were in the right body position when you were getting to your plant, but you just weren't there early enough, and that's where the inconsistency came in.
Inconsistency, and then I always think about that too with like power. The less that I can be doing on like every other part of the movement, the less moving parts, the more like I can just transfer the power efficiently.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you're more free. You don't have to think about it. So many things.
Yeah.
What disc you got left in here? You got bombers or flippy discs?
I got my Sphinx, my Flippy's driver, a Flippy fairway, and the Cigara.
All right. I want to see you just rip on some.
Okay, perfect.
Do you feel like you are one of those people that gets more consistent the harder you throw, or loses consistency when you throw harder?
I think the sweet spot for me is like 75 to 85%.
Okay.
Not super hard and not super slow.
Okay.
Or maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's like between 65 and 85%.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like a really, like if I can throw, we'll call it 490, then I'm really feel consistent at 460.
Okay.
You know, it's like that kind of level.
For sure.
I feel really consistent at 420 to 460. I feel consistent. Anything over that and anything less than that with a driver, less consistent. It's kind of how I think about it sometimes.
Okay. Yeah.
Any like things to really think about here? Or
I just want you to rip one, and then we'll see.
Too
nice.
flippy. So my problem when I try to rip stuff like that is the height is low. Is that, you think it's too fast? Slow it down?
Yeah, I think probably a little bit fast. And then one thing too is just like your shoulder tilt, especially when you're throwing hard, it's easy to have this right shoulder like go down a little bit. And just like we were talking about in the anhyzer, like just starting up, start with just a little bit like backward shoulder tilt there, and then do the same thing.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, better angle.
And I think, I mean, really consistency as a whole is just like controlling your starting position and your finishing position. And like everything else is going to come naturally. I mean, you've played enough and you've done enough form work. Like you don't have anything like majorly wrong in your form. But it's just like trying to make it as consistent as possible. Like if you can control the starting position, like if you're throwing harder and you know you tend to miss low, just start biased a little bit upward. Or if you're throwing on Annie and you have trouble throwing on Annie, just start a little bit biased there and make it as easy as possible for you to
when you're thinking about that bias at the start, I'm thinking about front side crunch down, not crunching through my lat. I'm thinking more here. Is that what you'd recommend too?
Yeah, I'd recommend that. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Just like more obliques than lat, so I'm not like backwards on it.
Yeah, and everyone has their own feeling there. And it could change for you too. Like if you're trying to throw an Annie crush, you might feel it a little more in the back because you're trying to get that up and tilt at the same time. Nice. I mean, that's ripped. Money angle too.
That's my Tour Series disc from last year.
Check them out, folks.
You gotta get one.
What's this? You got the Cigara?
This is the Cigara.
Last one?
Last one.
Nice. Oh, you got a stable one.
Yeah, he said give me a good one.
Yeah, that one's nice.
He said he'd give me a really good one.
Money. All right, so I think main things for you is like maybe like biases.
Yeah.
Starting just maybe a little bit slower, or like thinking a little bit slower than you normally would, because you, I can tell, have a tendency to get quick.
Yes.
And obviously we're filming a video and it's like easy to be a little bit quick, but I think
this is not different. This is just normal.
That's fair. That's fair. But I think like you know, Pro Tour events or any tournaments at all, like pressure, it's easy to get fast. I think we all do it. And so I think especially when the pressure's on or you're feeling like hesitant in any way, just slow down a little bit and be very specific with like the spots you're getting to in your swing. And then also just like we were talking about, the starting and finishing position, and especially the starting position for you. Like if you're trying to throw that anhyzer, just start there. Like don't make it so your body has to adjust. Like
I like the idea
switching
that you
from
said
hyzer to anhyzer.
Start and hold.
Yeah.
Because I've watched myself try before where like I haven't thought about the starting position nearly as much as the during the throw position. So that's a good reminder in and of itself. But the start and hold, where like what you said, was helpful because sometimes I'll like start in a position and then I start my run up, and the second you turn and like you start forward, the second you turn in the run up, you're like, okay, I'm back, baby. I'm doing whatever I want.
For sure. For sure.
That makes sense. I had a question about getting slower.
Yep.
There's sometimes when I feel like I try to get slower, I have gotten slower, that it's just almost too slow and fluffy. How do you keep that sweet spot where you're not afraid of like throwing too slow, but still throwing really controlled?
Yeah, so I think there's a difference between like slow and deliberate. And I'm more talking about like that deliberate slow. Because I think, you know, you can be quick, and as long as you're hitting all your spots, and like there's sometimes when your timing just feels so good that you feel like you can throw as fast or as hard as you want, and it's like gonna be timed up well. And then there's other times where, you know, you feel like no matter what speed or like fast or slow you're trying to throw it, it's like not going to be timed up well. So I think it's more about being deliberate than it is about like actually just slowing down.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, what a good way to put it, to be like always know where your body is.
Yeah.
So like, because if you get too fast sometimes you're just like, well, I guess I'm just going through the motions, but being kind of like aware where you
or
are.
just like having specific swing thoughts too is helpful. So like for me, a lot of times like just thinking about like a full extension and like locking out my elbow for peak reach back, like that's a really good swing thought for me. And I find sometimes when I get nervous or something, I get quick with that and I do like that little like whippy peak reach back. And so if I just think about like over exaggerating, like feeling how slow and extended that peak reach back is, I'm more consistent. And so it's not necessarily like the speed. And when I'm saying slowing down, it's more about like being deliberate and making sure that you're like getting to those spots that you want. So like for you, it's like not getting over this lead hip, like trying to feel like that inside of the foot a little bit more, maybe the little bit more anhyzer with the starting position and the follow through.
Cool.
But I think that's all great. I think
that makes sense to me.
all that good?
I think so.
Sounds good? Feel like it's going to be helpful?
I think so.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they were looking clean. Great throws.
The slowing it down, I think the next like 4 shots that came out of my hand all looked the exact same.
Yeah.
There was very different discs, but like the release came out the exact same.
Yeah.
Which is that deliberateness. And then thinking about the instep to help me plant better. Because sometimes I've noticed my hip will shoot down and then I'll just kind of like squish into it.
For sure.
But your adductors have to stay strong to like be in this position.
Yep, exactly.
And so that's a really helpful cue, I think, for not getting in front of it. And then just, this is very helpful.
Cool.
You're screwed later today, sorry.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, thank you, Bedanza, for letting me give you a lesson.
Thank you for giving me a lesson.
We're doing a little bit of a budget battle over on his channel, so check that out. And if you want another lesson, you know, you can come back anytime.
I will always take free lessons. If someone wants to tell me how to get better at disc golf and they know what they're doing, you know who you are, then yes.
All right, sounds good. All right, thanks, guys. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video.
Peace.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.